Meantime, the Federal Reserve remains in flux, and President Trump's nominee to fill one vacancy on the Board of Governors, Chair of the White House Councils of Economic Advisors, Stephen Miran, will have his confirmation hearing before the Senate this week.
Let's bring in Senate Banking Committee member, North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer. Senator, great to see you. Can you get Stephen Miran confirmed before the Federal Reserve's meeting, which starts exactly 2 weeks from today, Senator?
Well, I think we can. I think there's actually enough calendar to do that, and we'd have to hurry it up. As you point out in the piece, his hearing is this week. We could certainly mark it up, if you will, and that is to say pass him out of committee with a favorable vote, I would think, early next week, which would give us time if we can squeeze it into the Senate calendar on the floor. And the executive calendar, which is separate from the legislative calendar, because we have just voted to proceed to the National Defense Authorization Act, a very high priority in the legislative calendar. We can interrupt the legislative calendar with executive calendar priorities. So could it be done? Yes, it can. I've not run it through the trap lines to hear what others are saying, but it can be done, and I do agree that we should get it done quickly for the purposes that you're talking about, and for the same purposes that the president's talking about with regard to getting the case to the Supreme Court relating to his tariffs. Time is of the essence.
Senator, this is Marcus. What do you expect the Democrats to do to try to create as much friction for us as possible?
Well, they'll do everything. Yeah, they'll do everything that they can that's within the rules of the Senate, and probably a few other things. They certainly will be hysterical, to your previous point in the piece, because it's really to them it's everything. And the interesting thing about it, the interest rate issue has not really been along straight party lines necessarily based on who nominated these various Fed members. It's really been somewhat across the board. I actually expect the Federal Reserve, the Fed, to lower rates this next time. I think that the table's been set for that economically, as well as with the chairman's comments from the most previous meeting. So I'm not overly concerned about that, but hopefully we can give him a little bit of extra support with this. By the way, Mr. Miran, to my knowledge, hasn't acknowledged what his vote would be. Speaking of independence, but I do think that the stars are aligned for a cut of 50 basis points or so.
I would imagine it would be in favor of the U.S. consumer and all the residents, for sure.
I would think so. I would think so.
I want to move on to this, Senator, that we found out this afternoon that the U.S. had conducted strikes against a drug vessel that departed Venezuela. The president alluded to it in the remarks he made this afternoon. But you were on the Senate Armed Services Committee as well, and kind of tying this to something that the Wall Street Journal editorial board wrote about, that the President Trump has sent a guided missile cruiser, the USS Lake Erie, and a fast attack submarine, the USS Newport News. It's steaming toward the Caribbean, and it raises the issue of, what's going on in the Caribbean? Is it more than just fighting drug crime?
Well, first of all, the drug trafficking that goes on in the Caribbean that is overseen, by the way, by our Southern Command is significant, to say the least. But it's not just drugs that get trafficked either. There are other things, but the drug trafficking's obviously serious. The role of the cartels, Dagen, I think the role of the cartels in the economy of the Southern Hemisphere is a big part of why we need to be there. And let's remember, this starts with the president designating the cartels as foreign terrorists, which is what allows him the authority, and rightfully so, by the way, to keep Americans safe by using military force if necessary. I think that this was, first of all, a significant strike, but more importantly, a significant message that this president is going to stand up for the safety and security of the American people first and foremost. And every bad actor in the Caribbean area and around the globe should take notice.
Yeah, I think the one thing, Senator, that I really do appreciate is that the borders don't always have to be on land. And whether you're off the coast of Florida or wherever you may be, protecting these borders from immigration, from drugs, from a variety of things is really the focus.
That's right. That's exactly right. Keeping America safe and making America safe again. It's a promise, another promise made, and a promise being kept.
But do you worry about a military conflict getting out of hand?
Well, we always have to worry about that, but that's why I think these decisive decisions by the president, whether it was with regard to this drug ship or whether with regard to the nuclear sites in Iran, he is using peace through strength. What that means is a deterrence, a reputational deterrence to the bad actors to say, you know what, maybe not today, maybe not under this president. We'd better stay in our lane and watch our P's and Q's. Right. I actually think he saves lives by this type of strong response to something that's been plaguing us for a long time.
And I heard a Democrat on the news channel say earlier today, double the bounty on Maduro's head. So right. There you go.
There you go.
Senator Kevin Cramer, great to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Great to be with you both. Thank you.